Greetings, brothers and sisters. This is Professor Spira, and I'm here with Brother Air. Say what's up, Brother Air.
What's up, Brother Air?
And it's been quite a long time, and since we've had opportunity to do a video, reach out to you guys, say what's up, see how you guys are doing, and just talk about what we love to talk about, Mucusless Diet Healing System. And wanted you guys to know that we're alive, we're still here. You know, sometimes we take a little time off working behind the scenes and people are like, hey, where's the Q&As? What's going on? We haven't seen a video in a long time. So we thought we would put something together. And, you know, as usual, we just kind of at the spur of the moment, we just decided, hey, you know what, let's make a video. We got some stuff to talk about. And you can see here in Spira Studios, I'm like in between some projects, and this is a green screen that you will see me using in the future for some other projects and some things, and just you know, I just like to create stuff, and so I've been working on a lot of things that you will see in the future. And I know I always say that, but you know, one of the biggest things about the Mucusless diet, in my opinion, is learning patience. You know, that's probably one of the greatest virtues I've learned practicing the Mucusless diet is patience. And so we do things at a different tempo than most of the people that you're probably accustomed to checking out, whether it be, you know, the online figures and the YouTubers and Facebookers and all that. We have a different tempo, you know, a different tonality. You know, everything is good. You should look very different, you know, coming out of the Mucus-free camp, and we just operate on a different wavelength and frequency, and it's about quality. You know, it's about trying to. We always try to do things that stand the test of time, and so that means, you know, everything we put out is we try to make it, you know, the best quality as possible. So sometimes that takes longer to do, and you know, and every once in a while we gotta jump in and you know, gotta let you guys know we're still here. But you know, a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. I finished, in fact, out of when I well, let's see. This is a copy of my dissertation. It's 505 pages. So
hey,
yeah,
man,
this is what I've been.
What'd you say? 2 telephone books, man.
Yeah. So this is what I've been doing. You know, everybody's like, where is he at? What's like this? This is where I've been at. I've been writing a very long dissertation, and I'm gonna pass my defense, and I still have a couple more steps to turn the thing in, and there's this whole rigmarole that you got to go through to get the final stuff in. But unless there's some cataclysmic something happens, you know, I will be graduating this year, PhD in musicology with a specialization in ethnomusicology. My focus was on culture of jazz education, and some other time I'll maybe talk a little bit more about that if anybody is interested. But
and he'll be graduating May 8th, and you can send all presents to
yes. I should. I'll make an official announcement. Yeah, May 8th is graduation. If you any tokens of appreciation, you know, the shameless plug. But no,
that's a beautiful thing, man. That's a beautiful thing, man. To the whole thing unfold, man, and to be there right at the beginning with you, you know, and see you all the way through this. It's a beautiful thing, man. I'm really happy for you, and I kind of feel like, you know, a part of it is mine, man. You know, it's kind of like,
oh yeah,
I kind of feel, like, you know, like we worked. I mean, you know, we worked at it and put all that stuff together, man, and a lot of that dissertation, man. You know, stuff that we done experienced together, you know. So,
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, and and the story of us meeting is in there because there's one of the chapters is an autoethnography or ethnographic reflection, or there's all these different words I can use. It's like an ethnography, but it's not an autobiography. There's differences to it, but you sort of do this deep analysis of past experiences and extrapolate on it and stuff. But one of my stories is talking about Brother Air, and he pops up a couple other places. He's in the master's thesis, and so that gets over into the music, the real deep music side, because I think Brother Air, both of us. We love talking about the Mucusless diet, but we probably love talking about music more and talking about both at the same time the most. And and so
yeah, when we can combine them both, it's just like butter. I mean, that's just the greatest thing. If we can combine both of those at the same time, it's kind of like, we'd like you to like the music, but and get the message too of the physiology piece. I don't know, I'd probably be disappointed if you just liked the music and didn't dig the physiology piece, or if you just dug the physiology piece and didn't like the music. I probably would have problems with that, man. I mean, we really try to connect them both.
Yeah, and because one of these days, we're going to start putting out. I still want to do a video that's, as everybody always asks about, like spirituality or what kind of stuff you do, and it's like, I'm a musician, so that's my meditation, that's my yoga, that's my breath exercise. Use my trombone over here, got the got the keyboard going. It's like that is the priesthood. Like, that's what you do and you connect to all of that stuff that everybody talks about when they're living in the now and they're connecting to this, and and all these concepts. I would tell people, study music, just my opinion, like study being able to learn how to control sound and vibration, and to the point where you really become a vessel for that vibration to come from you. And you'll experiences, you can experience levels of consciousness and all, whatever. It's like you leave words behind. Like, you can't, like, at a certain level, like my dissertation, I used all the words possible, but there's a point where words are done. You're done with the words, and then it's about the music and the potential transformational experiences that are in that. And when you combine the music with the diet, that's over, And
yeah, man. So yeah, and you will see, like Professor said, we're going to do a lot more music this year. We had taken some years off to let Professor kind of get this thing done, and I know the bass player has been just like, scratching at my doors, to get started. He's ready, and so Baby Babaji, he's kind of unsure if he's still in the band or not. we got him right where we want him,
Yeah.
Dr. Wu, he's kind of just waiting in the wings, waiting for, report to duty type of call. So yeah, we're gonna put some music out, man, and try to take it to the logical conclusion what we put the band together for, man. So
yeah. It's, the music, the physiological liberation, and we're really starting to see, the mucus-free community is it's really about that artistic expression. And got a lot of artists that come in and you know, so we have less of, I mean, we do have a lot of vitalists and people that like to, you know, do the kind of like bodybuilder, you know, we get some of those, but there's that artistic, because to me, the path of the artist really is, I mean, it really is, for lack of a better concept, like that spiritual path that everybody always asks about and everybody wants to talk about and stuff. It's like study music, you know, for me, just personally, like it's in there, like all it to the point where you don't have to talk about it. It's like in the music and in that experience and the process. Anything that you work on as an artist, or just painting, or you know, if you're a great writer, you know, poet, you know, you build things, you know, whatever it is, there's something that you have to connect to, this creative essence inside you that forces you to open up to other forms of logic and understanding that aren't, not able to write down, or really unexplainable outside of that experience.
I think that, you know, from the way I look at music, I look at, like, the artists, we are the shaman of the community.
Mm. Yeah.
And you know, the shamans are the last vestige of honesty in the community. That's what the artists, I think that's what people come to shows or concerts to see artists be honest, because the politicians are lying to them, the preachers are lying to them, the authority figures, the politicians are lying to them. So they come to artists to get that truth. And now the problem is that the artists are lying to them. And that has a lot to do with that mucus and pus. You know what I mean? It's kind of like music has been relegated to this recreational level. And myself, I try to carry myself in that shaman role, because of, it kind of just appeared that I was doing more than just playing music. Now I was involved in the Mucusless Diet Healing System, that I found out people were interested in physiology and was interested in my practices, or our practices. And so that took it to that shaman level of serving, of being able to serve, and just not, you know what I mean? It's like you play a show and somebody applauds and you leave up off stage and that's the end of it. That to me is kind of what the West has done to the arts. They've turned it into kind of like a Tootsie Pop, you know, sucking on a lollipop, you know.
Right, yeah, just a little pacifier.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I've really shifted my understanding about my duty to others. Like we were talking about with the music, I'd like you to dig the music and hear the message at the same time. And at the same time, if you listen to if you get the message and ain't digging the music, I'm having problems with that. So on that level, and to be more than just, you know, especially dealing in jazz music, creative Black music, what's done happened is the artists have gotten into this virtuoso type of mentality, that's what this is about. Just, hey, look at me, I can play, you know, look at me, check me out, watch me, I can play, you know. And they're not bringing much more after, well, you can play, and how can you help heal and save humanity. Well, the music is the music has recreation.
Hey, it's just, it ain't enough. You know,
it's become real recreational. Even the way people use music.
You know, let's go to the Justin Bieber concert. You know, let's.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you go and you jump around and you sit up in a nasty bar and listen to jazz. Have you some alcohol, because that's the only way that you can stomach the music, obviously. You know, it's we've talked about how they relevant art form to even listen to the words jazz, blues, rap. But then you go to classical music and they have words like impressionism,
Baroque, classical.
Yeah. I mean,
Renaissance.
It's it's these words that mean something culturally. What the hell does the blues mean? I mean, in rap. You see what
hip hop.
Yeah, they relegated art form.
Funky.
So
yeah.
So it's that's something that I'm really battling, man, and I'm struggling with it myself personally to still stay involved.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get along with a lot of the artists. The artists have become very provincial. I'm looking on Facebook sometimes. I'm seeing the artists, and they're so wrapped up in Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, and I'm like, man, I mean, it's like, it's just, it's like I say, man, we can do better. We can go deeper.
And I know we both been appreciating the art of Israel Fruto lately.
Israel, man, is another kind of guy, man. I mean, he's like the blueprint of what's to come. Young people should really try to plug into that brother and see what's coming up next with him. I mean, he's very engaged in nature in a fun way,
Right.
It's really just, I just smile when I see that cat, man, And I think I hit him up one day. I told him I just was just really disliking me, man, because he was drinking all this fresh juice and showing, And I'm like, man.
This golden pineapple juice, this fresh squeezed. Golden mango.
Man. Beautiful watermelon slices about 2 feet long,
Right.
You're like, oh man, this dude is just, I'm just gonna have to shut him down. Like, man, I'm gonna delete you, man. You keep keep messing with me, man. So yeah, those guys, man, just motivate me, man. Let you know that cats are coming, man.
Yeah. It's taking shape. Yeah.
Younger people do hear this, understand. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it went out. It went out for a second.
Okay. So yeah, what are we doing here this evening, man? What are we just kind of?
Well, Yeah, well, we touched base at first, and getting a little bit of feedback. I don't know if you can turn it down a little bit. It kind of went away now. So yeah, our topic of discussion today that I wanted to kind of get this out there is I want to talk about dry fasting within the context of the Mucusless diet. Is it something that we condone or recommend, or do we not recommend it, or what? And what's urged this is getting a lot of questions on the forum and private messages and stuff asking about dry fasting. What's the difference between dry fasting and water fasting, or have you dry fasted and this and that, and it's become this kind of topic of interest, which happens every several years. The last time the dry fasting thing kind of came up a lot was in 2012, and I wrote an article about it.
You went out for about 20 seconds.
Okay, well, I'm not sure if I went out for everybody or it's just you.
Oh, okay.
That's happened to us before. That's happened to us before. Okay. So basically, so a lot of people have been asking about dry fasting and its role in the Mucusless diet and all that kind of stuff. And one of the reasons I know there's a group that's been created, and there's some issues there because there was a lot of people from the Mucusless diet community that were just added to the group without their consent. Because you can, like Facebook they don't have a way for you to turn off people automatically adding you to a group. And so since we get so many notifications, you get added to a group, you might not even realize it. Like, I didn't know that I'd been added to the group. And so there was a couple of people, I think, that were just like adding everybody from the Mucusless diet group into this other group that promotes dry fasting. And, and so just on that level, it's like, well, wait a minute, because now it looks like everybody in the Mucusless diet community just promoting this this sort of other system, this other take on what, whatever it is in terms of it's like a systematic approach to incorporate dry fasting and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, all right, well, that's, and I know that it had been talked about a little bit in the forum, and I kind of I would tell people to sort of, whatever you do in our forum, in our group, it's got to come out of Arnold Ehret. Like, so when Brother Ehret talks about his dry fasting, it's coming out of an Ehret transitional methodology. So it's not just sort of like he's doing his own thing. It's a logical conclusion of 40 years that he's done what he's done. But we had to start really monitoring when people try to go too far off the reservation in terms of the Mucusless diet group. And I was talking to Tony the other day about how that sometimes when we aren't as active and we're kind of relying on the Mucus-free leadership to step up and really, kind of engage with people and say, hey, this, we don't really talk about that here. And there's a lot of cats doing that, and I appreciate that. But we're able to see kind of where people's heads are at, because, for us, the Mucusless diet has to be sort of that central peg. And for the folks that really allow that to be the central thing and to get in deeper into it, because people, when we say the word transition and we promote transition, people think we're just talking about menus and gradual change. And, it's like, man, when we're talking about transition, we're talking about a mental transition, a spiritual transition in your life. You might get rid of a bunch of your belongings. I went through periods, I'm just throwing away bags of possessions. Like, I'm done, get out of my life. Like, that's part of your transition. People, toxic people that might be in your life, removing them and bringing in the good vibrations. That's part of your transition. The social dynamic, you might have used to go to, go out to clubs like I did, go out to dance clubs all the time and bars and hang out in these kind of environments, where cats getting in fights around us and that kind of environment, to go from that environment to now I just enjoy hanging out, going to parks and going and checking out music concerts. And, as I said, that's a transition, it's a lifestyle transition. So I really want to hit that point home, because people too often think that every time, we use the word transition, all we're talking about is the incremental change of food choices. And when we use the word transition, it's synonymous with life. Like for us, at least for me, speak for myself, our concept of transition is really just like using the word life, so you'd be like, well, I'm on the transition. I'm on life. That's what this thing is about. I don't care what, because a lot of this it's just the mental framing of how you're thinking about things. How do you see the world? How do you see life? And everybody's transitioning. The question is where. So everybody, because nobody stays in the same place the whole time in terms of their life. The life is about change, and change is about transition. But what we have a little bit of willpower and a little bit of control is redirecting the forcefulness, the inertia of where is that going. So are we going deeper into gluttony and in the McDonald's realm, or are we going closer to mucus-free realm, and everywhere in between, and so that's just a word on transition. So essentially, a lot of folks are going to that group, and so people want to hear our opinion on the dry fast. And so I'll turn it over. I'll first turn it over to Brother Air. I'll give my opinion, but I want to hear Brother Air kind of talk about dry fasting, and you can talk a little bit about your experience, but also sort of your observation of what you're seeing in terms of the practice of the Mucusless diet, and what the relationship between dry fasting and Mucusless Diet Healing System. Oh, I lost the audio here. The audio pooped out on us. You might have to leave and come back again. That seems to be the only way. I don't know if it only pooped out for me or if it pooped out for everybody. I can't hear. I can't hear Brother Air here. I'm checking to see if. So yeah, okay. So Brother Air is gonna leave and come back in. This is a common technical issue that for some reason we have it where we kind of we can't hear each other all of a sudden, and so I'm not sure if it goes out there like that or not, but so I started with myself, I guess, a little bit. So overall, in terms of the group, we focus on Eric's fasting methods, and and there's a lot of reasons for that, because to me, the more advanced fasting protocols are not something that should be messed with by newcomers of the Mucusless diet. I'm an advocate for study the book, study Mucusless Diet Healing System, the fasting chapters, study rational fasting. I talk about fasting and practical transitional things in my book Spira Speaks. But if we really look before it's okay. Well, here's one of the problems I see. I'm seeing people trying to do the more advanced things that they see other people talking about or doing without having even they don't even know what Eric's fasting methodologies are. You know, they're coming in and talking about this water fast and dry, all this stuff. They're not even, like, I don't know if they've read the book, but they're not displaying knowledge of Eric's method, Mucusless Diet. And yeah, Brother Eric's back with us. I hear him. So let me turn it over to him, and you say what you were what you started saying.
Well, I was talking about the people who really want to move through this thing real fast. You know, if they start practicing the Mucusless diet, or if they start practicing any diet, man, everybody think health comes overnight. And I mean, really, man, watching folks fast, and I guess I've been some influence on a few people who really admire the long fast. You know, but you know, I've been transitioning for 35 years, you know, and I didn't start a long fast until, oh man, the 25 years, you know. I mean, really, you know, like, so transitioning, man, let me tell you about dry fasting. And I've dry fasted for weeks and weeks and weeks. You know, I mean, like the gnashing of the teeth. Most people aren't ready for that, because what happened, look, you can get so deep into this fasting and to the kind of transition that I was doing, and the detaching that was taking place. There's, you know, and I don't discuss this much, but I got so detached into you know, like into it was kind of like where I was going was, I got so into the transition that I started losing my memory to spell. And you know that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and what was happening was the tissues of the frontal lobe of my brain, I was eliminating those tissues. That's how deep I got into dry fasting. Now that's kind of heavy when you talk about the kind of dry fasting that you have to detach like that. Where I'm talking about 20 years where I didn't have to pick a pen up or write anything. I had somebody to do it for me. Professor knows this,
yeah.
You know, Professor knows this, and I detached. I mean, I remember a guy told me, he said, "Man, you the freest brother I know," you know, because he had seen how far I was going, where I had detached, man, from everything. I mean, and so that's not, I'm just starting to get some things back. But I'm gonna tell you, what I lost was I didn't lose anything, the truths and all the stuff that I had studied, all the things that stood the test of time. I didn't forget that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I forgot the things like English letters that don't mean anything really, you know, because people talk all kind of different languages. So it you know what I mean? In the realm of, do this stuff mean anything? You know what I mean? It was like, and I were very
think it went out a little bit. Not hearing you. And then isn't it like that? Once it gets heavy, it shuts down. We shut the internet down. So I guess, Brother Air, if you hear this, go ahead and log out and let's see. Well, I see you moving now. Say something. Now the audio is gone again. So I guess log out and log back in. That'll be our that'll be our ritual. You know, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This is like I said, this is where it's at. You know, technology. It'd be nice if it's like we got all this technology, but I'm always looking for some, like, a few real super quality, like make some really like stuff that doesn't fail, you know, that is affordable. You know, that's hard. You know, because now we got all this, you know, I'm on the phone, my phone always drops all the time, and I'm supposed to have a good carrier, you know. And but yeah, to kind of add to what Brother Air was saying, yeah, like he went through a transformation and some things on his path where he basically everything that was unnecessary eliminated from his consciousness. Like it was like on your computer, if you have a whole you know, a terabyte of files and you put it all in the trash and just hit delete. It was like everything that was unnecessary was just deleted. And it's okay, Brother Air's back. I think I can hear you, can't see you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So it's coming in a little bit. Yeah, it's coming in.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah,
so what I was talking about was the trend that people don't realize what they're getting themselves into, and it's not, when guys do long fasts like that and haven't done the training, they don't get the right results. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't get the long results. Okay, so what, you can go this long with, but you know, you can go this long without eating, or you can go this long. That's fine, but that's not, you know, this is not the Guinness Book of World Records. You know, we're not trying to, you know, right. We're trying to get results to try to stop eating, man. I always tell folks, I'm trying to stop eating, you know, and so and that's gonna happen one day, hopefully, you know, it will happen. But yeah, man, that kind of fasting, man, if you're not ready to pay the consequences for that, you know, for that kind of detachment or detaching from the society, then don't get into that. Don't go there if you one of these very provincial type of spirits, because and I'm talking about the person who will put in the time to transition properly. I'm saying it is more than a notion, man, to do those long fasts, those long dry fasts, and then long fast, and just detach and find your place. You know, I mean, like when you do detach, now what?
Yeah.
Now what? You know, now what? So but you know, like I said, it was 20 years, man. I didn't have to do anything as far as the system. Anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was making money, and I just turned the money over, you know. And,
Yeah.
and, you know, I was doing, you know, we were on the road together, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it was just total focus on the diet, on the art, and the music,
on the art. It was
everything else was later, you know, just wasn't like it was gonna take care of itself.
And when you get to that kind of thing where you don't know that's coming, man, where you like, man, I done forgot how to spell.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody's symptoms are different. You go through different, you know, because I didn't have.
Oh man, you going through the pill, you know. I mean, you know, straight back the pill. Now we meets the road at, you know, like, do you know what your name is? You know, can you remember your name? You know, and so it got. That's where that, I think some folks heard me say, don't get scared if it. That's where that came from.
Yeah.
That's where
I was just thinking of that because I was like that, and that's real, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, it was real. It was real, and so, you know, still, man, very detached. It's like I reduce things right now to its lowest denominator, man. Of just, I got to do, you know, say, you know, kind of.
Oh, losing you again. Oh, I think the audio is gone again. I hate that. I don't know why that likes to do that, but it's just, I guess it's just a weak internet connection. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about stuff that's really hard to talk about, you know, because these are experiences that few have had, you know, that are able to, that we're able to find a language to study and be like, okay, let me talk about it like this, you know, because things get real vague and real sort of like out there, like, what are you talking about, you know? And I've always made a point to avoid going down that road, especially in these general videos. You know, if I'm talking to more advanced practitioners, I might get into some of those kind of experiences that I've had, because I've had you know, I've had my own version of things as far as just going through like my little fall that I went through, and that, you know, that I usually just like to kind of talk about that with the more advanced practitioners, because people just won't understand what I'm talking about unless you've at least practiced the diet for several years. You know, you get several years under your belt, then we can start really having meaningful conversations about the fall and advanced levels of you know, Mucusless diet practicing and all that kind of stuff. So and the challenge is, you know, as a mucus-free educator, you know, someone trying to teach people, especially that are just coming into the system, it's, you know, one of the reasons why we're just hammering the fundamentals as much as possible, in terms of that's what we promote, that's what we condone. So like I said on in the group, I don't condone dry fasting protocols, because that's not Eric's methods. You know, that's not what Eric promotes. So that's not what we're gonna publicly promote. Now, if you go off on your own, or you go to the other groups, or you do what you do, whatever, you know, I don't judge anybody. I don't care. But it's, as far as the Mucusless Diet Forum, that's going to stay about the Mucusless diet, and that's our responsibility, because we have a certain, people don't realize it, but there is a certain even almost there's a certain responsibility that if people do stuff where they say, oh, I was told to do something, or I saw people doing something in a particular place, then it could come back. And what always ends up happening is people want to blame the diet. Every time someone falls out and they go, or, oh man, I felt terrible, or or I water fasted and I did this, and it's like, yeah, but you're not following the Mucusless Diet Healing System. You might be doing something else, or you're trying to combine you're trying to hodgepodge. So you're trying to combine methods from person A over here, and then here I like what Aaron said about this, and then this guy said something good, and you're trying to hodgepodge it, and I advise against that with the Mucusless Diet. Now I'm not saying ignore everybody, and there are a couple people that I recommend for certain situations, like, well, check out this person or whatnot, but overall, like, pick something and really, really like dive into it. There's few people I'm noticing that are really able to do that. They want to hodgepodge it. And
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I want to apologize to all the folks listening and viewing this, man. But hang in there, man, because you got some good information, man, coming up. I wanted to talk about why this thing is on, man. The term that I call we need to talk about that. We never talked about that. The fall fund.
Okay. Yeah. We'll explain.
Okay, so this is to the group.
Okay. This is to the more advanced practitioners in the group.
More advanced practitioners. This is the fall fund. Okay, what the fall fund is, and this is something that me and Professor have talked about, but we've never talked out of our presence together about it. But the fall fund is something that you need to start working on if you're really serious about practicing the Mucusless Diet Healing System. It's basically a fund saving money, so when your fall comes, that you can take care of yourself and things won't just fall apart. That's real. That's real. We both went through it, and in different ways almost, but it was the same. We both like, boy, if we didn't have that, we would have lost it all. But that's something real, man. Is to start your fall fund. If it's nothing but $5 a month, but start it and look at that money and don't mess with it. Have it there, so when you do fall, you can stay down. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, right. You'd be like down for the count, and be like, stay down, don't get up, stay down.
Stay down. And so yeah, that's something, man, and I hope they discuss that on the group, on the forum, man. I hope we really get into that and see if people really understand that whole concept and have thought about that.
It's like the Mucusless Diet insurance policy. Or Mucusless Diet IRA. You put the money away. Put it into a different account. Don't touch it. Because be prepared. The key is, and one of the things that I try to impart is be prepared in all situations. Be prepared. Be prepared for the worst. If you're prepared for the worst, then when the best happens, you can be very pleasantly surprised and happy, you know. And that's kind of, you know, the way I roll is like I'm ready for the worst, you know, but people kind of identify me as kind of a survivalist type of person anyway. But like I'm walking down the street expecting somebody to jump out and shoot at me, or so, you know. So I'm kind of like I'm not on edge. I'm like cool with it, but I'm aware and observant all the time, you know, and I'm always, you know, as prepared as I can be for whatever happens, you know. And physiologically, you need that some, you know, your Boy Scout motto, be prepared. You gotta have some of that. You gotta have some of that, you know. And I don't know, see, to lose the audio again for Brother Air. That's crazy. That keeps happening. Yeah, I can't hear you. So come on back. But yeah. So but yeah, being prepared, and so when we talk like that, it's like because people are always surprised, and even if you have prepared mentally, when you start to experience something that's really heavy, you still might not be totally ready. You know, you still might be like, dang, that's what they were talking about. Your eyes kind of go wide open and you're like, oh boy, you know, here we go, you know. So that's one reason why I do promote the, like, dive into the transition, because like there's no rush. I've been to the fall, and you probably don't want to rush there. You know, if you want to, you can, and you can get there too early. And I've seen a number of people, even over the past several years, get there too early, and then they disappear from the group. You don't hear from them again, and they start talking a whole other talk. And call from Tony Balaba. And it's because they didn't, you know, they didn't really transition properly. And so let's see, Brother Air's back here. Go ahead.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. So, yeah, I'm hoping, man, that the trouble that we have in audio and visual, I hope that people are hanging in there, man, for the information. I hope we're saying something that's worth kind of hanging to get this information, man, because I feel like it's the fall fund and the whole dry fasting are two subjects that should be really dealt with and really understood to the totality, you know, of it. So I mean, that's, like I say, that fall fund is something that, like I say, you might not need it for 10 years, but it's there. You know, you might need it in 5 years. What did you go through your first fall? Was what, after what, about 7 years?
Yeah, even longer now. I mean, it was about 10 years.
About 10 years, yeah. So,
or well, no, maybe it was 8 years.
Yeah, so that's about right. You know, for serious practitioners who, it's kind of like the schedule was yeah, pretty much everybody I've known who has been between 5 and 10 years, you know, like they'll go through that, and then you'll go through it again in another 20 years, you know, and then you know, like another 10, 15 years. Just depends on your physiology, because you're peeling back the layers, and some of us are just rancid, you know. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, we need some work on, you know, done on us. So and that's what, you know, in the fall, man, really scares people away from practicing the mucusless diet, because at that point they think the diet has failed them, because the diet is supposed to have been something that they supposed to get healthy with. And so all of a sudden they go down and they think it's the diet. But if you understand and you read this book, you understand that you're right on schedule. And if you have, now, Professor Arnold Eric doesn't talk about the fall fund. that's kind of something that we kind of came up with, you know, because we needed it, you know. It was like we kind of, and we're trying to turn people on to, like, you need this. You need this. If you're serious about this diet, you need to be thinking about the fall fund. So
that's and like I was saying, you know, when you came, you know, went out for a second, was that's, you know, one reason that I you know, I promote, you know, really promote the transition and the artistry of the transition, and, you know, the gradual change, and learning how to lead your body, let your body lead the way. Because I've done different types of long fasting. You know, I don't promote a lot, or like, oh, hey, look at me, I did all, but a lot, you know, a lot of my knowledge and understanding and some of the wisdom that came to me came from those experiences, you know. But what I did was, at a certain point, I learned how to let go, and I really tried to read my body. So if my body told me to fast and I was fasting, it would kind of indicate through intuition what type of fast, how long, you know. So I never was the type of person that predetermined a length of a fast. I just never did that. Like, oh, I'm going to fast for this long. It was like, I'm gonna just start, and then we're gonna see what happens, you know. So maybe I might, you know, if I'm gonna be invasive at all, it would be to start it, you know, just like, all right, I'm gonna get into this thing, you know, like that. But as far as you know, the length, you know, I never planned on doing, you know, months and months of fasting, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But there was more to it, even in the transition, and that gets into this other levels of discussion that it's hard to even have unless you really know what we're talking about and had those experiences. But the plug-in, you know, because there was a period of time, you know, Brother Air was fasting. He was doing his long, like, you know, 6 months into a fast, and I plugging in, and I started doing long fast, and there's a couple other people that was in the community that was doing the fast, you know, and it was just a vibe. And that's a science that I would like to really see people learn about, and because there's something to that, you know, this plug-in type of thing, you know, and it's definitely something to be talked about more and studying. And I know people attempt to do it through, like, what they kind of do, like, I'm gonna do a group fast, why don't everybody fast today, like. But what I'm talking about ain't that, you know. This is like a real spiritual kind of thing. It's not like a meetup where you can be like, hey, everybody, on August 22nd, I'm doing 48-hour fast. Come do it with me, you know. Like, nah, this is a real deep, like, spiritual kind of connection that's happening, and between you and the people you're around and the earth itself, and you. You let go, and you're just on this ride, you know. You're just watching, and just like, you know, you feel like you have this little protective bubble around you wherever you go, you know. And see, I think I'm gonna add Tony, and Tony has something to say, so I'm gonna invite Tony on in. But let's see, Brother Hair, did he lose Brother Hair again? Oh. So overall, in general, in terms of the forum, you know, we're not dealing with dry fasting on the Mucusless Diet Healing System. We're talking about the basic level, and that doesn't mean that I say it's something that you will never do, or, you know, nothing like that. I just recommended somebody do a dry. One of the clients that I work with, nothing else was happening, you know, working. He was kind of working through all these different steps, and we got to the point where it was like, why don't you dry fast for several days? And they dry fasted, and it took care of the situation. But we needed to transition to that level. I mean, there's something to be said from going from point A to point B. What I've seen that was troubling when I was added to that other, the dry fasting group, was there was people that said they had never fasted before, they had never, you know, they hadn't really gotten into any kind of diet type of stuff, and this was like their first experience with this sort of dry fasting protocol. And to me, that's like problematic. That's like anti what Arnold Ehret would promote, you know, because even if you was to do something like that, you know, have some transition under your belt and some serious, you know, physiological understanding, you know, and having, you know, transition, you know, because, you know, Eric talks about it constantly in the book, and I reiterate it constantly because people seem to skip over those quotes in the Mucusless Diet. They skip to the parts that they like, which are like, you know, if they like the, like we said, the shortcut thing, then they skip directly to, oh, let me see about the fasting. Let me see about, like, oh, the superior fast, like this. It's like settled, like go back to the first. Go back to lesson 1, then go through, and then go check out the fasting lessons, and, you know, and just slow your roll.
Is that Brother Tony?
That's Tony is on with us. What's going on, bro?
Hey, what's up?
What's up, man?
Peace. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so what's been going on, man?
I'm loving the conversation right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
man.
I wanted to jump on here, man, because like some of the things that you guys talk about, it really puts into words like stuff that I'm going through. Now that I'm in my 4th year transitioning and really working the system, it's like, you know, I try to put my mind around the stuff that I'm experiencing and whatnot, and it's interesting. So like one of the things that's kind of been big recently is like I really kind of cut out a lot of distractions in terms of the other concepts of diet, other concepts of health and stuff like that, and then really finding myself in the Mucusless diet. You know what I mean? Like, got into this 4th year, and it was like a lot of stuff kind of eliminated, like goals. Like, oh, I want to be fruitarian. I want to do a long fast. I want to do something extreme. It's like all that stuff kind of got eliminated, and I was like really seeing my transition, like really seeing a vision of the path. And when I did that, it was like I really didn't need nothing else. But what I'm looking for is even more Mucusless diet discussion. You know, because on the forum, if you ask a question, how many of those comments are coming from outside the Mucusless diet? You know, a lot of people say, oh, try this, try that, do this, do that. And maybe 2 of the comments will be like, well, Eric said this, or Spira said this in Spira Speaks, or Brother Air mentioned this. So let's work with it from that angle. And, you know, those are the kind of comments that actually help me, because there's really no reason for me to step outside of the system right now. Like, I'm just in the door. You know what I mean? And these past 3 years is like, when you first get into the Mucusless diet, you're like, oh, in 3 years, I'm going to be a fruitarian. You know, in 3 years, I'm going to be mucusless. Nah, you know, I'm looking back and being like, those 3 years were like a learning experience to show me how my body works. You know, because Eric talks about, examples of how like he uses a lot of aggressive examples about how the body works. Like he might say, you know, if you do a fast, like this happens, and so the body works like this. And so what he was doing was he was actually talking about theories of how the body works. And then there's a section devoted to transition. There's a section devoted to meal options and a food list and such like that. But what we're doing now is we are living the system, and what I would say is not a revolution in terms of nobody's taken over the system. What we're doing is we are restoring the system. It's a restoration happening where we're dusting off the books. We're going back to them. We're going back to these concepts, not just looking at it through the lens of like, I need to be a fruitarian or I need to rush and do this. We're looking at it like, how does the body work? You know, and it's just really interesting because a lot of the stuff that he talks about, even the burnt toast, when you first get into the mucusless diet, you're like, because you're listening to raw foodists, you're listening to, you know, fruitarians, you're thinking, oh, the burnt toast is just the first 3 weeks and then that's out the door. And what I'm seeing with my body is like all of that stuff still has a place, but it's like, what are you doing within the context of how are you living, how are you working the transition? And all that stuff about like, I want to get here and do this and that, it starts getting cleaned out and you start looking at it like, I can transition into a fast. I know how to work with the fast. I can transition out of the fast. I know how to work with that. I know how to find some balance. I know how to dig deeper. And like I said, for me, that's just like what I've been learning in 4 years. But it's only, it just keeps getting to a point now where it's like, now I can practice. And then, you know, I'm learning, and then it's just a situation where it's a learning process. You know what I mean? And so,
yeah,
you guys are just really hitting the nail on the head in terms of how to talk about those things, because sometimes, you know, I want to say, you know, just don't mix the diet with nothing else. Like, just leave everything else alone in some sense. And it's like, it's hard to say that without sounding like, oh, you just love the mucusless diet. You just, you know, you're just against everybody else. It's like an ego thing. And it's like, no, like that's where I'm at in my transition, where the mucusless diet is all that matters. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing else really is needed. I just want to talk more about this because I have more questions. I have, you know, more things that can only be answered by other mucusless diet practitioners.
right.
You know, so it's just deep, man. Like,
And there's a lot of experiences and a lot of stuff that we like hint at and kind of talk about that you can't experience unless you get focused and you go down this path long enough. And that's the problem I see is people go for the okie doke too early, like they're going and things are kind of going good, and then it's like there's a shiny new toy over here, let me try that, and then it deviates. They don't do it within the context of the mucusless diet. They're like, oh, check that out. Then there's another shiny thing. You know, I talked about a fad concept today. You know, we like novelty. Humans are wired for some reason to like novelty. Maybe it's mucus piece or something, but we like new things. And so, oh, check that out. That looks interesting. That's, you know, the whole nutrition supplementation world is based on that. Like, oh, let me try this. Let me do this. Oh, that. You're like, oh, what about these type of, oh, lemon juice enemas? Well, why don't I do Coca-Cola enemas? Somebody will rationalize that. That's the sad thing. Somebody will actually, and like somebody's gonna say, oh,
that's just a part of where we're at in terms of the society that we live in, being made up of a bunch of slaves. That's a slave mentality, and slaves don't know no better. You know, slaves do what they told. Slaves can't think for themselves. So even inside of the mucusless diet family, you still have the slave. You still have the slave mentality. You know, because very few of us are gonna detach like that. So because it's kind of like even with the slave mentality of practicing the mucusless diet, still that attitude of eyes are free. I free with this. Like I can only go so far with it now. I'm loving eating this fruit and this vegetable and these vegetables, but I can only go so far. And so that's why if you're really into practicing this thing, you start detaching from the norm, and you start taking on a majestic type of attitude towards life itself, and is what do they say? Envy thou not the oppressor, choose none of his ways.
Right.
Right. So it becomes that kind of vibe, man. Where if they go to the left, then you automatically go to the right. I mean, it's a sad commentary, man, on how you have to live, because everything, man, is backwards. Everything is backwards. There's nothing that makes sense. People are not making sense. Everything out here, everything they build out here for you is about degeneracy. It's about doing you in. You dig? So when you have a society that you walk outside your home, and it's like everything that you come past is doing you in. I mean, what how do you process that?
Yeah. I liked
slave mentality.
Yeah, I liked what you said about the musicians getting into Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton and all that, because it's interesting, man, because when you really want to do something, that becomes more and more irrelevant. It's like, because you know that they're playing a game, and why would you even go watch a game when you could be doing something more important? And so it's interesting too, because Arnold Ehret talked about Pythagoras having to do a 40-day fast just to visit Egypt, just to visit a black kingdom, empire, and so. But these politicians, they don't have to do anything but eat pus. They wouldn't get in the door if they weren't eating pus. So it's exactly what Brother Air is saying, is it's actually backwards. It's like, instead of having to fast and make yourself a superior human, you have to actually show that you can eat the fried chicken like Obama, to get in the door. And I was also thinking about, like, okay, dealing with work, dealing with school, it's planned on purpose so that you can't have a break. Like, for example, in Native American culture, there was the concept of the vision quest, which was actually, I'm going to go into nature and fast and realign myself and get a vision for the purpose of my life. And you can't tell your boss, oh, I'm a little bit like scrambled right now, I need to get my vision clear, I'm about to go on like a 2-week vision fast, like we got enough we got enough staff, we're gonna be good, or you can't tell your teacher like, you know, I'm working with some stress right now, I really want this paper to be high level, so I'm gonna go and do this fast and then come back and finish the paper with a clearer mind. There's no physical
you're
reason
talking
why
about
society can't
having
take a break. There's no reason why there can't be that opening.
you're talking about having a human conversations with people that are not human. That's who you're working with. And that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous that you can't have a conversation about fasting. Hey man, I got to fast for 3 days, and then I'll come in here and work my ass off once I'm healthy.
Right.
That should be the conversation. You did, but no, you don't have that kind of dialogue or understanding with Joe Bob, who's coming an hour and a half every morning to the job, and who gets there 30 minutes before you do, and you live 5 minutes away.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's you know, it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, here, I'll give you some examples of like the workplace. Okay, so my coworker, she's obese, and she recently had to have a surgery to eliminate an obstruction from her bowels, and she had a surgery, like I mentioned, to eliminate this obstruction. Now she'll make jokes about, you know, she had cake for breakfast, and you know, when she goes home she's gonna have you know, like a huge steak and all this stuff, and then follow it up with candy. And then, okay, so this is what happened then. So she was telling, she has these really bad migraines, and she was telling me about them, and she said, as a last resort, quote unquote, a last resort, her doctor is going to give her Botox in her forehead as a way to deal with the migraines, because that's the last option off of everything they've tried. Like, tried medicines, you've tried, but you didn't try nothing healthy. But your last resort is Botox to deal with your migraines. It's I was just like, wow, that's crazy, you know.
Yeah, that's insanity. But that's you know, 2016 in a world drenched in pus and mucus.
Right.
And
yeah, so that's where I'm at, man. That's where I'm practicing the Mucusless diet at, you know.
Well, and for me, I mean, and one topic that I like to get into is just, you know, motivation. What motivates you, you know? And for me, when I got into the diet, and I was in one of the most pus cities that really promotes, like, everything revolves around pus where I come from, and but it was like I was being fed by that. Like, there was so much negative energy, especially based on what I was doing. It just fed me, and it just made me want to, like, just practice harder. So it was like I just walk down the street and just see someone would give me some dirty look, or what, all kinds of abuse that you take in the place where I'm talking about, and that would just feed me, man. That would make me, I'd be fasting, and me and Brother Aaron be talking every day about how insane this place is to live, but it was like we try to use make a positive out of a negative,
Do you remember when you started practicing? They were actually putting pigs on every corner. You remember that?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I think I've seen a picture of one of those pigs.
Yeah. I used one in a meme one time, but yeah, these pigs, because Porkopolis, Cincinnati, Ohio, its history is based in a slaughterhouse culture of animals running through the streets, and somebody would grab one and kill it and make it, cook it up, you know. And so it's because it's, you know, it's just a conservative sort of crusty type of spot where, you know, there's not a lot of progressiveness or people wanting to change, or, you know, or open to new ideas and all that. It's real, like, you know, let me get my my cheese coney, and you know, it's just, I'm gonna eat all day, and you know, and then at night I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get into some fights, try to find a significant other for the evening. I mean, that's the mentality. It's just real, you know, just real juvenile, you know, kind of type of thing. And but when I was in, because I was in school, you know, so I know what, so, you know, when I'm coming out of school now, you know, I know what Tony's talking about. It was like, and I managed to, I just managed to use school as an inspiration, because for me, I was inspired. Like, I wanted to be as different from everybody that was around me as possible, because I'm like looking at all these people in a, you know, it's a music conservatory, so it's like, conserve is in, you know, conservatism is in the title. And I'm like looking around and I don't relate to anybody in here, so I just kind of wore that as a badge of honor, and I started, you know, walking up and down the halls, eating lettuce, and what really got the people, I started wearing a surgical mask, because I started smelling the funk, like I could really smell that nasty smell that you can't, like, you don't smell that dead animal breath that emits, or I should, dead animal body, like, you don't really smell that until you get off of dead animal flesh. And I was cleaning myself up, and all of a sudden I get close to people and I'm starting to, like, I'm smelling this like death smell come off of them, and I got to a point where I couldn't handle it, so I started wearing the surgical mask, walking up and down the hallway. You know, people looking at me like, what's wrong with him? What's he, you know? And I'm just, I couldn't care less how these people thought about me.
And your teachers started asking me what was wrong with him.
Yeah, people thought I lost it. They thought I was gone, you know, and it was like, I was like, good, you know, just as long as, because I would actually have conversations with, like, if I needed to take some time off to fast or to do something, I might show up with a copy of the Mucusless Diet book and give it to the professor. Be like, this is what I'm doing. I ain't gonna have no doctor's note. I don't go to doctors. This is what I'm doing. I'm gonna be out for a couple days. And I didn't even give, like, I wasn't asking them questions. I wasn't asking them for permission. I was telling them what I'm going to do. And my whole frame changed, because now instead of trying to get something from them, like, oh, I got to be good to get this, you know, to get my grades, it's like, no, like, I'm paying them thousands of dollars. You know, this money is going to them. So I'm going to get out of them what I want, because I'm paying them. They're working for me. You know, and so I changed the whole paradigm. That doesn't mean I'm not, like, I'm gonna be disrespectful, or no, it was nothing like that. It's just, it was a paradigm shift that most people don't have.
You're talking about customer service.
Right. You know, so and I still got, you know, my virtual, you know, almost straight A's. You know, I got bachelor degree cum laude, then my 2 or 3 was 1, 2, 3. It'll be my 3 other degrees will all be summa cum laude. You know, I got 2 master's degrees, and then this will be my dissertation. And so I got good grades, even though, you know, I was how I was, you know. But and it was, you know, a lot of hard work. But I was, you know, I was determined to do it, and it was part of my path. You know, it's not part of everybody's path. Everybody's got to find their thing.
Hey Tony, what do you think about the fall fund?
Yeah, man. Thought that was a good concept, man. I'm gonna start mine too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it represents an important mentality. It kind of goes along with what Spira was saying about being ready for anything, you know, kind of having that survival mentality. And, you know, I've kind of developed that with practicing the mucusless diet. It's just like, let me look at the worst options and let me prepare now. You know, I've had times where I was just like, let me see how little I can live on, you know, let me see how much I can really conserve and stretch this money. And I would say for me, that's just like, I guess that was like a taste of the fall fund, is like, let me conserve this money and, you know, use these, you know, like fast every other day or so. I'm gonna buy some vegetables that are on sale and just work it right. But yeah, man, that's an important piece, man. I had never thought about it, never heard that word, that term.
Yeah, that's real important, man. That we understand the what we're into. So we have to develop ways to work, man. Those are concepts that, I don't know, Eric, he didn't talk about that, you know.
Right.
You know, you can imagine he had resources that he could, you know. So what we have to do is come up with our own concepts of how to maneuver this thing, man, because here we are trying to practice in 2016 something that is ancient.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is ancient. And so when something is that ancient, man, you really don't have a lot of time for the mores of 2016. You start stepping away from all of it, man. People, things. You really are just trying to get to the next day. You know, with this thing. Right. And so the fall fund is something that if you do it right, when it's time to cash in, you can do it boastfully. You know, where you can literally tell whoever it is, kiss your ass. You know.
Right. Yeah. Shut it down.
Yeah. Just shut it down.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah, it's real. It's very real, man. And those are the things. If you're trying to get to the goal line, you know, this is part of how you get to the goal line. You know, and so very few of us will take this advice tonight. Very few.
Yeah. And that's, you know, one of the reasons that I've been really trying to do the work that I do with building a mucusless diet community that's really based on the mucusless diet, you know. So it's not a raw, you know, not raw foodism community. It's not a fruitarian community or water fasting community. It's none of those. There might be members that do some of those things, and those are things that are a part of that's within the context of the mucusless diet. But it is always done and thought about totally different than in any of those other you know, other communities. And so it's important that we come together where we can give that support to one another, you know, create that that mechanism, you know, where we can plug in and we can support ourselves, because really that's going to be the next level. Because right now it's fall fund on an individual level, on a family level, and, you know, we're going to have to move to the universal fall fund, you know, like pool, have some cats pool some money together and you know, so we can,
right. I mean,
that's
the thing, yeah. Yeah, that's actually the concept of of it is that we can help you. You know, we're in this thing together. You know, and so when somebody goes down, it's kind of like asking a Indian, does he have insurance? You know, and they just look at you like, you know, what do you mean? We're our insurance, you know.
Yeah.
And so, so I mean, that's when you say that universal, that's where it can go to, you know, in terms of funds that come past us that we can put into a fund to help somebody like Georgia. If we hear about her going through her fall, then boom, you know, we can help. You know, and I mean, we have to set up things like that, almost in reverse of the society that we live in. Mm-hmm. Everything has to be reversed.
Right.
You know, you can get some money without having good credit.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
You know, we trust you. You know, we trust you. You know.
Yeah.
Got clean enough to be trusted.
Yeah. Have those signs on the bus stop benches. You know.
Yeah. I mean, one thing, man, is I'm interested in living communally.
Yeah, well, that's really the.
I mean, that's a ways down the road, but what I'm saying is, and this might be, I mean, who knows how it would go, but what I kind of have been envisioning is like these regular jobs out here. You can work them part-time and have enough to go half on something, and you don't have to work full-time. So if anybody ever wanted to say like, okay, this is a nice city, it's liberal, they got fruit trees and stuff, like let's a couple of us move there. If we don't have other things going on, let's move there, a couple of us, and grab up some basic jobs, maybe transfer our job there, and you know, just like you would be able to work a lot less and kind of do something communally. Yeah, that would be a step in the right direction, you know.
Yeah, I agree, and that's where we're headed. That's the logical step is to. Because sooner or later, man, I mean, and we're at the embryo stage of this thing, but it's coming together, such as yourself and Spira and a few practitioners that we know. We're getting some legs, you know.
Yeah, y'all. Yeah, today with Spira we're talking, and I said, you know, we're building like a foundation of a foundation. Like up until now. People who can be persistent enough and hang with the information, we've been able to get into the game, but now we're really building a foundation where real community can come out of it, you know, a real foundation, a real solid, and another thing is like a real solid gateway to get into the mucusless diet. Like instead of just having to rely on the old book, so much material is coming out now where we can actually put somebody on a channel to actually come into the mucusless diet in a real way so they can understand what they're doing. You know, so I think we're building a real foundation to do this thing. You know, and another thing is just getting our head right, because when I talk about living communally, I'm not talking about coming together to have relationships and do stuff that will turn into obstructions and chaos. I'm talking about a few of us who are like, who can come together with a one mind and reasonable goals, and so we can actually do something sustainable. you know, and work on getting cleaner, not just get together just to be together. Like I want to have somewhere where I can meditate and do my yoga and do my breath work, you know, because that's my first mind. And all that other stuff is irrelevant right now.
Yeah, I mean that's you know, that's it. I mean, but those are the type of conversations that you know, cats are gonna start having a lot more, you know, and his brother Air sounded like you kind of went out there for a second.
Can you
think you back
hear
now?
me?
Yeah, now.
Yeah, well, okay, well, all I was saying, the concepts of that we kind of think of in terms of that whole communal thing, man, has to be like based on ideas that, you know, it's kind of like you look at marriages and how marriage is set up. You see it doesn't work, so why would you want to do it? You know?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like you see that this is just more divorce than it is the marriage. So you see that's not working. So you have to come up with a whole concept of how does a relationship supposed to work. And,
Right.
and I'm just using that. I'm just using that as a you know, and not be so skittish, man. To innovate and try new things that are innovative and sometimes, you know, you try new things and you kind of fall down. You know, it's like, okay, it's a budget, then you try something else, but we definitely have to have the attitude of explore and discovery.
Right. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, we have to keep that kind of mantra, you know, mission statement, you know, and so yeah, man. I mean, I'm watching. You know, I'm watching.
Yeah. You know, for me, it's like that. That's that whole piece. Everything is about timing, and you know, certain people are going to be inspired to do certain things. You know, we just always got to coordinate and make sure, you know, what I'm doing is complementing what you cats are doing, and vice versa, and the folks in the forum. You know, and get that rhythm. You know, kind of really like if we can get that rhythm before coming together, then when it does come together, it's gonna be. It won't be no problems, you know. It's gonna be like the problems are gonna have been worked out, you know, and that vibration will be so strong that you know, it'll just be a whole other thing. So you know, so we all kind of, you know, my thing is like is resources, you know, is time to start, you know, trying to get a hold of resources for the community, you know, and see, you know, see where that goes. But, you know, first and foremost is always the practice. You know, always working on getting yourself together, you know, taking it to the next level.
You know, when you talk about the practice and you talk about resources and you talk about organization, and then you watch a lot of organizations and a lot of so-called health gurus and their whole kind of movement, and you see how they become successful, and they understand where their success comes from, and they stay there. Where the difference is with the practice of the mucusless diet, we're trying to get to the goal line. We're trying to get somewhere. So you can't stay there. even if mucusfreelife.com was creating so much resources that, you know, financially it looked good. Everybody was sitting pretty. Oh man, the one difference is it could shut down in one day just because we are trying to get over the hump. We'll shut it down because if Spira says, hey man, I'm going through a fall, then it's over. You know what I mean? It could go like that, and I wouldn't be mad at Spira because we're never gonna say, and I'm not gonna let Spira say it as far as okay, this, you know, this is real.
Oh man, he's losing the.
You know, we're gonna stay here. We're gonna stay here. Like the people you see these Sabis and the Fuas, and they stay where they're successful. Right? They're not trying to clean themselves up and get to that ultimate place.
Right.
They you know, Leah Africa, all these, but they stand right where their success is. They don't go no farther past it or no farther under it. You see what I'm saying? You know, even if a shot's like, man, I could do this, man, and really get myself together. But the business would suffer. They make the decision, I can't let the business suffer. That's the difference. When we've talked about it, where if we going through a fall, you wouldn't see Mucus-free life that come off the map tomorrow. You dig? I mean, seriously.
Damn.
You know, seriously. It could go off the map tomorrow if the decision was based on a physiological decision.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to get ourselves together, man. I mean, this is nice to have that form and to have, you know, the books are moving and the words getting out. But we got into this thing to get our individual selves together.
Right.
That's what it was about. And you know, and that's how the decisions are made.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I like that. I like Brother Air kind of brings this stuff into perspective, man. That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of what I started explaining way at the beginning of the discussion, where it's like we vibrate on a different frequency. Like the value system is different, the goals, what we're trying to do is different. It's a whole different world, you know, in reality where we're at, you know, and it's something that you know, like I say, plug in while the plugging in is good, you know, because your brother is right. You don't know what is, you know, day to day. We just try to get ourselves together, and for me, as long as I get that, I get an energy from helping people and, you know, putting this information out there and that kind of stuff, and but yeah, I mean, Brother Air is right. It's like, you know, don't
because we are practitioners first.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. We're practitioners first.
Yeah,
that's right.
You know what did the guy what that commercial used to say from the hair club? Well, I use it.
I'm not. I'm not only the you know. We said, I'm not only the president, I'm a member. I'm not only a member, I'm the president or whatever.
Yeah, man, you know.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's real. That's really real. And I like that. I like that focus, man. And I'm glad you said that because, yeah, that's where my mind is at. And you know, I get on the forum, man, and I try to talk, man, but it's difficult. Like that's a push that I'm trying to make, you know, because if everything was ideal or something like that, it'd be like, okay, you got the mucusless diet, now you go off, practice it for 10, 15 years, and then come back and say what's what, you know. But you know, I'm enjoying, you know, helping to push the movement, man, and trying to push this thing into the I wouldn't say the public eye, but just trying to make this more accessible to those souls who can want it.
And you do a good job. And you do a good job of that, man. You do a beautiful job, man, of making it palatable to people. And I just love it, man. And I hate it. I hate it when your channel went down, man. I'm hoping that you're gonna start that back up.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, I got some things to say. Yeah, man. I will definitely. Hey, I had an interesting question for you guys, or just a experience that I guess is one of the key things that I've noticed recently is when I break a fast and I get back into eating, or when I'm into the mucus lean eating or something like that, that's when the weakness becomes the realest. Like I've had times where, you know, I'm mucusless or I'm fasting and I'm feeling great, and then I get back into the food. One day I'm walking down the aisle and it's like I lose that strength for the next step almost, when, you know, when you think, oh, I'm eating, so now I'm going to be slowing stuff down and whatnot. You know, and I've kind of worked around that physiologically, and it's been all good. But that's just been an interesting experience where the real weakness is kind of like when you're dealing with the food. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
yeah. What I mean, what do you? What's up with that? Like,
I do.
Is that why you got to be careful, like breaking fast and all that? 'Cause,
you know.
Yeah, I mean, you just talking about the, like, when you're feeling good during the fast and then you break it, and it's like all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, but it's not like right after. I'm talking about like 2 or 3 days later, 3 days, 4 days, you're back into eating, and you're like, damn, I don't got no energy for nothing. I need to get back into another fast, like, or I need to like clean this out and have my
vitality. I mean, and that's one reason why I teach sort of my little take on the fasting process to really gradually fast in and out, and that you know, that wasn't talked explicitly about by Eric. You know, that's kind of a thing that I just do for myself, and I teach people to do that, and it's pretty good. But it's like, instead of and I actually learned this watching Brother Eric break a fast. He ate a piece of watermelon and passed out. Like he hadn't eaten it in 8.5 months, and he ate this piece of watermelon and was like just passed out in about 5 seconds. And so when I started coming off of the long fast that I did in the early days, I would, instead of just going from liquid to solid food, I sort of went through this period of, like, I don't know, is it solid food or is it not? You know, it's sort of like a smoothie period, and you know, a period where I might chew on something and spit out, or suck on the juice of something. You know, so it's like, you know, people don't like that kind of stuff because it doesn't fit comfortably into a category. Like, what was that? What is that? Is that fasting? It's like I'm transitioning out of a long fast, you know. And so because people love this duality. They love, I am fasting, and then I've broken my fast. And for me, it's like total gray area. I just add a whole section of easing out of, you know, drinking thicker juices.
Well, you have people too who fast without any kind of physiology in mind. You know, you have the religious crackpots who fast with that, and they can come off a fast and start eating chicken. You know.
Right.
Right. Right. Yeah. There's that.
They could do a long 40-day fast, man, and come off eating like chicken and biscuits and so it's almost like their mind and body is separate. It's like, you know, they've accomplished physiologically a beautiful thing and they don't realize it. You know, because their head is so full of dogma on why they just did this fast. So, you know, it's kind of like,
it's definitely you know, and it's kind of what we were talking about before. It's like people, you know, I'm just trying to share a way to think about these things. Like, for instance, one thing I wanted to cover about the dry fasting concept is, you know, I noticed some people, and this happens to everything. Like, this seems to happen to every system of, like, the word means something, but then they deviate. They try to change the word to make it into something more important or different or something. So they've done that with, like, vegetarianism, which conceptually started off as vegetables, but then here comes eggs and cheese, you know, and then veganism, and, you know, you think, well, that's plant-based, but here comes nothing but processed foods and soy stuff and all that, you know. So we always like to use these words and just deviate from, you know, whatever it is. And so when people talk about dry, I've been seeing a couple people talk about like a 5-hour dry fast, or the 10-hour, the 18-hour dry fast, and this kind of concept, and I'm like, you know, my thing with a dry fast is like call it a dry fast after you've gone several days of dry fasting, like a 24. I do that all, like, I don't even call that anything. Like
Right,
you mean to tell me I've been doing something already that you're, going 18 hours totally dry? Like, that's, I don't put a label on that. That's just, I'm using practicing the Mucusless diet. I don't have to add a label. Like, I'm doing something here, and even a 24-hour dry, like, that's just, I'm just transitioning. I don't need to label it something, but I notice that becomes this thing that people can say they did, like, oh, I did 10 hours dry, or I did 18 hours on water, and then I drank, and then it's like, well, what'd you eat? And then it's like, well, I ate this big salad with avocados and the nuts, and yeah, but so those 18 hours, you just, like, you'd have been way better going back, not fasting for those 18 hours, and just eat some fruit, or eat a salad with no avocados, or whatever, have some steamed mucus-free vegetables, which is heresy to the raw food folks that are staunch on that. They'll eat 5 avocados at one sitting, but a little steamed zucchini or baked zucchini or something, or heaven forfend baked banana, or some stewed apples or something like that. Oh dear, I apologize for my cussing. It's like, man, this is, and that's what I'm talking about, the transition. It's like, those are the elements that's available, and I'm not saying you have to be on that kind of stuff for forever, and I'm not putting any limit on you in terms of time, but I'm saying work the system and then make those kind of decisions and about how long something's going to take, because see,
that's the problem. That's the problem, is that we have not accepted that there can be a system in terms of physiology. We don't accept that. There can be a system to how you do things at the job. There can be a system on how you do things at school. You know what I mean? There can be systems of how you can function in commerce, but they cannot be a system of physiology, of how to do this. That's what people don't want to accept. A system? What you mean a system? In my mind, I want to be a vegetarian. That's in my mind. You see what I'm saying? I don't need a system. I'm a vegetarian. I'm not eating meat no more.
Right.
You dig?
Well, say in my mind, I want to be raw. You know, although I dehydrate every day, and I eat a whole lot of dry food and dehydrated stuff, and yogurt, and what's going on now with the probiotics and the yogurts and the and that whole like how is that, you know, that's considered raw, you know, like, well, I didn't cook it, but I stirred it up and it's this gook, and you know, it's like, exactly, you know, but that's what I mean by people love to like stretch these words, that they put so much meaning into these words, these concepts, like, and they have to do it. Like I identify with this and I have to do that. And that's why we like to promote the concept of practicing something. You practice the Mucusless Diet Healing System, which means every day of your life, you're not going to be totally mucus-free. You know, every day of your life, you're not fasting. You know,
that's key. That's key, because think about it, and we say this all the time, man. It's kind of easy to get off pus. People can stop eating meat. You know, just, okay, I'm not going to eat meat. I've seen it done. You know, I've done it. But when it comes to that mucus, and we talked about that, and that fat, you know, it's hard. It's real hard to stop eating mucus, man. To stop eating those grains and that starch.
Right, and that's why I think it, you know, because I really like to look at the language, and I notice what kinds of things people kind of take from us and use, and where they, and other stuff where they avoid things that we're saying and use other language, and especially like the raw food, is they, you know, they're eerie about really jumping into mucus-free, you know, using like mucus-free, the word, like they say, you know, they still use that concept of cooked food being the absolute worst thing you could ever do, and would rather see somebody eat 6 or 7 avocados in one sitting versus have a little bit of something, some steamed vegetables that are mucus-free. And that's the total paradigm difference, where from we're coming from, I'd rather see somebody eat steamed mucus-free vegetables for years, but stop eating avocados yesterday, not even today. Like, if there's some in your refrigerator, throw it out. And I'm not even saying use those for your transition. I'm saying throw that out. But now, and as I say that, there's probably about 20 viewers that leave, and people start thumbing down the video. Because
do you ever think that saying that we say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, do you think that ever was true? It probably was. But now in this society, let some folks start eating some apples, and believe me, they're not gonna keep the doctor away.
That level is not.
That's how bad it's done got, you know, because that used to be a true statement. Now, in terms of what we've done, in terms of our transition, if we could eat an apple a day, it'd be a beautiful thing. We would look at that as just, oh man, we're on our path, because we're practicing what we practice, and we know. But let folks eat an apple a day and see how sick they get. You see, so those things. I mean, the stomachs, man. You know, we're a society of stomachs. They say you judge the society by their stomach.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, if you do that, then you bear assessment of where you at. If you judge the society by their stomach, you pretty much know where you at and how to act accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so there's no mystery. It's no mystery of what we're dealing with. You know, it's like I was telling my son, man. You got to deal with these folks, man. No sudden movements. You know.
Right.
These folks are out here, man. I mean, they are just high as hell, man. You know.
I mean, as Aaron said, they've lost their reason. You know, they don't know why they're here. You know,
Right.
they're like they don't have a reason to be here at all. You know, and they're just totally confused. Like, I don't know. And
totally confused. And no purpose. You know. No purpose at all, man. So.
Yeah, it's interesting about the raw
you know,
foods
I mean
too.
that what Tony was talking about, like, you know, the whole commune and things that you know, which is an old concept, but
Did he drop
lost
off?
brother Aaron. Yeah,
Oh, he's coming back.
He might come back. Okay.
Did you lose me?
Yeah, for a second.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're back.
No, I was listening to Tony. I was listening to Tony.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what I was gonna say is it's interesting about the raw concept because, you know, and I know people talked about it before on Eric, but from what I understand, the raw concept is related to animal life in terms of no mixtures, no cooked food, and I don't know what happened to the no mixtures. It's like that part got thrown out.
Right, yeah. I mean, our definition of, at least my definition of what real raw foodism would be does not resemble anything I've seen anybody
That's what
that
I'm saying.
identifies as raw
Right.
foodish, you know.
And so it comes back to the thing where it's like what raw is really a lot harder to reach than a lot of people want to think, you know, and so they're coming up with shortcuts. And that's what we're seeing with the dry fast thing too. A lot of this stuff is like a fad trying to make a shortcut, you know, but really what you're doing is it seems like you're trying to obstruct yourself as much as possible so you can assume the state that you want to have. Like, how can I eat a raw diet and obstruct myself enough so I can be raw and so I can tell somebody I'm raw? You know, like that's what I see going on with a lot of this stuff. And so with the mucusless diet is like we're really elevating the mucusless concept, and we're saying like this is not as easy as it seems, and you don't have to be mucusless tomorrow. But if you go onto the raw food forums and even the fruit forums, nobody's talking like that really. They're talking about as soon as possible be raw, as soon as possible be fruitarian. You know, so it's just interesting, and yeah, and it's like, yeah, they're missing the point about what health really is, you know.
And what one thing I'm trying to do is plant the seeds so that some of the folks that kind of like, you know, they're like, you know, I hear I'm the mucusless, but whatever, I'm too advanced for that. I'm gonna go and do this and that. It's like, all right, cool, you know, go explore, you know, go do your thing. But unless we go through an elimination, we'll be back. We'll be here waiting for you when you go through a fall or that thing falls apart, and you'll remember, like, and Spira talked awful lot about transition, and maybe I went too fast. Maybe I was feeling so good, and everybody around me was, things was going so well, and yeah.
So what happened to the what was it, the 80-10-10, or what was that little family? Whatever happened to that?
That thing is done.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen anything from a lot. I mean, there's people that's still reading the book and praying, but I mean, the community of it, like, I don't see it as strong, and I'm not really plugged in, like, but I'm not seeing as many people coming from, like, I'm not, 3 or 4 years ago, all I heard about was, and the questions I got, what do you think about Durian Rider? What do you think about Freely? What do you think about so-and-so? And it was what happened was
somebody got paid, right?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people got sued. I know there was a whole kind of controversy, I think, with because everybody, like the stuff that I saw, like Durian Rider Freely, it was like a shock jock element to it, where they would, they'd show up someplace and get in somebody's face and, why are you eating, like, throw blood on people. I don't know if they actually did that, but they come from that, like, PETA world of just, the animal rights piece and doing things that will create a controversy, and they would be harsh with people, they'd call people out and and kind of give their opinion in uncertain terms. I think they got sued for, like, libel at one point because they called out some exercise woman or something, and then since then I really hadn't heard too much. They're probably making videos and they probably have a fine following. I have no clue. I haven't seen any of their stuff in a long time. But the thing I'll say about what I observed when I was checking it out was, so they started off with, like, the banana diet of this 30 bananas a day concept. That was like a deviation or based
wait a minute,
on.
Wait a minute, hold up. What did you say, what did you say, 30 bananas a day?
Yeah.
Did you say that's the
name of the people I'm talking about. They're not the ones they didn't write the book 80-10-10, but they said that that's what they did. But their practice deviated from what I understand the book. Somebody else could talk better about this because I didn't study it with the kind of detail that I like to study when I'm going to talk about something like that. But from what I observed, the 80-10-10 concept was you're supposed to get 80% of your diet should be carbs, 10% should be fats, and the other 10 should be starches, or something like that. And I love that the concept that people can actually measure, which nobody, like, oh, I'm going to measure this,
Well, where I first heard of it was Israel stated that he was into that, and so I had never heard about it. And then I kind of talked to you and Tony about it, and y'all kind of filled me in, and then I never heard anything more about it. It just kind of faded away.
Yeah, I mean, from what I observed, the Durian and Freely, I mean, they had a pretty, they had a forum, which they probably still have, but there was really a community thing happening, and it was people was into it, and it was like that thing that we're talking about where it wasn't sustainable, because what ended up happening, where they was trying to be all fruit and fruitarian, high fruit and 80-10-10 and all this kind of stuff. Then what happened? Somebody invented a concept called raw till 4. Now this goes back to what I was talking about before, how people can take these words and the ego that they've done associated because they've identified with this concept. I can't let it go. I'm going to eat cooked foods, but I still want to be raw. I still want to identify with this concept and this word, and so I will invent something called raw till 4. And and essentially what I say, like, AKA the transition diet. That's all it is. Like, it's less intense than any transition diet that I recommend in terms of.
Right.
I'm raw until 9. I'm raw until 7 if I'm eating a cooked meal. Like, I'm not eating cooked all day, and I don't ever eat a meal that's 100% cooked. Always combines cooked with raw. It's called the Mucus-free Diet Healing System.
That's as bad. That's as bad as the Muslims' Ramadan. You know, where they would say, well, they and then they're supposed to eat a poor man's meal, which, you know, I've seen a few poor man's meals, and it'd be like, man, that guy don't look, that meal don't look poor, you know. And so, I mean, that's kind of like, you know, yeah, the ridiculous of, because that's I used to tell my cousin and them about that Ramadan fasting, because I said, man, if you get up at 7 o'clock in the morning to go to work and you running late and you don't have time to eat anything or whatever, you get up, you go, and you get off work, and by the time you get home, you run around, and then by the time you get home, that's normally how you're gonna eat anyway. And that's basically how Ramadan is. Well, when the sun goes down, then I can eat. We're like, where is the discipline at? You know, where is the discipline at? And I mean, you know, I mean, I don't have a problem with people holding off to eat until dawn, till nighttime. Okay, I do get it, but most people's lives, and they don't eat anyway. You know, they're working 8 hours a day, you know, running around, and then by the time they get home, you know, and a lot of, you know, so I just used to watch all that, man, and you know, how they, you know, just all, you know, like say the 80-10-10 and all this stuff, man, and the concepts of, what'd you say, raw until 4?
Raw till 4. Yes, that was based on, I can't be raw all day. I tried to be for a couple of years. It didn't work out that well. Probably went through some kind of crazy elimination or fell, or, you know, I went through something kind of nasty. And so, since I'm still based in this calorie theory thing, it's okay for me to eat, as long as it's carbs, I can eat it. So I'll go eat rice, and I'll eat vegan pizza and whatever.
So raw till 4. So basically, they're saying raw till dinner time.
Yeah. So it's like, and that's what I'm saying. It's essentially a corruption of Professor Arnold Ehret's transition diet: fruits in the afternoon and some kind of vegetable meal at night. You know, like, essentially that's one of the overall, you know, that's not the only variation, but that's a very common variation. And so, yeah, so it's just this deviation. But again, the mentality is totally different. They don't identify it as a transition concept. A lot of them thought that they failed, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't be raw all day, so I had to just go with the raw till 4.
Well, what's up with the rise in the cough coming back? I thought people had their day with that and was pretty much done. And more people doing the coffee enemas again.
Oh well, but like I said, what I notice is the trend. Every 3 to 4 years, the fad type of things are recycled. And one of the things I've always tried to do to take us out of that is to stay totally consistent with the message. Like, the message is consistent. It's been transitioned since day one, and it's going to keep being transitioned. I didn't start selling probiotics and coming up and, hey, you know, I didn't start talking about, like, well, why don't we experiment with coffee? And I'm like, look, we're practicing a Mucusless Diet Healing System, and the only thing that has been contributed that we do that's maybe not exactly by the book is we add a little bit of lemon juice to the enemas that Aaron recommended do definitely while you're fasting, and potentially, you know, whenever after you have a bowel movement. So there's people that do them every day. That's a controversy, and somebody had asked that question on the forum recently. I added it to my list. I have a list of about 130 questions. And I thank all of you guys for leaving your questions, and you know, and I'm gonna be answering those through various ways over the next several months. But you know, but essentially, yeah. I mean, the Ralto for it, there's, you know, a lot of those folks. There's some of them are totally against enemas. You know, like, so there's no enemas involved. You know, some of them take B12 shots and supplements, and, you know, so it's just this other thing that, like I said, we've had a lot of people come from the raw food diets, the 80-10-10 things. You know, they've come from the fruitarian things that they've tried to do and fell off the wagon, and we kind of have like a safety net for the people that fall off of those things, because once you do a certain level and you kind of experience, even if you are filthy, but you get into a fruit mode for a minute and you sustain it for a minute, you know, you're going to experience something, you know, and you might go through a period of feeling really great, and you might have some eliminations and all that kind of stuff, but you're going to get to a point where it's like, you know, you hit this, whatever your ceiling is, you hit it. If you don't hit it, then you know, I bow to the greater good. You know, if you're a physiological genius, and I shake your hand, but I've not seen that happen yet. I've not seen those people emerge where there's no ceiling, and and especially coming from a mucus-free perspective. You know, I've seen the raw people that, well, I've been raw for 10 years, but they eat avocados every day. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about mucusless diet, raw foodism, and just mucusless diet, period. You know, and so we're the safety net for people that fall off of these other things that are more short term, that don't work. Whether it be they tried to do these long water fasts, and they broke it and started eating you know, barbecue pork and things, and you know, and I've heard this stuff. You know, there's this stuff. There's a video about, when we're talking about this dry fasting system we were talking about earlier. There's a video with a girl talking about she was doing it, and she fell off the wagon and was like, I think, what was she eating, shrimp or ketchup and potatoes. I don't know. It was, I forget, you have to, wow. Some of you, I think Matt had posted that up in the group, but she, you know, no transition. No, she tried to follow that dry fasting protocol as fervently as possible, and when she fell off the wagon, there was no methodology, you know, because everybody at some point will maybe fall off of a wagon. But with difference with the mucusless diet and everything else is, if you fall off the wagon with the mucusless diet, you have a plan. You have a system. You know what foods are the worst to stay away from at all costs, and what things that you can use to satiate you, or to slow the elimination down and transition out. And there's no guilt and fear about using those items. But what I've seen with people that don't study the mucusless diet, and they get way out there on either the, you know, fruit thing or water fasting thing or whatever they get out there on, the people that do fall off the wagon, they have no clue. They don't know where to go. They're like just stuck in limbo, and they're, maybe I'll go get supplements, or I'll do this, or, well, I ate this burger. And
what of the list that you just put out, the list?
You breaking up a little bit. Let's see, is he coming back? Oh, my lost brother Air.
Mm. Yeah, I still see his picture.
Oh yeah, okay. We don't hear you. Right.
Oh, he's coming back.
It's coming back in.
No audio.
We've had a pretty long, so maybe just log out and log back in. Is this we might not be lucky on this one. But Tony, I mean, what's your thoughts about what we're talking about?
Man, it's just well, I mean, you're making a clear point, because I'm kind of looking at the raw tel 4, the 80-10-10, and I'm thinking like trying to mix the mucusless diet with that is the same as trying to mix the mucusless diet with this dry fast concept that we're seeing. It's trying to mix it with all these different fads. For me, that's really obstructing the experience that you can have, and in the trajectory that you can follow on the mucusless diet. Like if I were to throw in some of the mixtures that people are talking about, I don't really have a reason for doing that. There's mucusless options to sweep my system where I don't really need to experiment with, like, I'm not even trying to get into the ingredients. I'm just saying, like, if I want to fast and then sweep my system and then keep the fast going or whatever I want to do, I just feel like for me it would throw things off to jump into another protocol where I don't really need to. The only thing I can see is that if I came across some kind of crazy fall or something like that, then I might reach out and be like, hey, I'm going through this issue. What can I use? But that's how I would respond to that. Before I even went off into something else, I would look around in the mucusless diet and look and talk to people and see what other options I have, before I just throw in, like, and it's like on the forum a couple months back, a while back, there was a discussion about this like powder that you could buy, this like product that you could buy that supposedly it was like a certain kind of oil substance that was supposed to get rid of the mucoid plaque. And I just always wonder, like, first of all, the thing that I always wonder is, have these people seen mucoid plaque come out on the mucusless diet? Because I mean, I've seen those huge ropes, and they look like beads on a string, and you're just drinking watermelon juice and having like raw salad, so nothing dark, nothing whatever, and you're getting out these huge dark things. But if somebody's drinking something dark and taking all kinds of mixtures into their system, I really wonder, like, is that mucoid plaque, or is that the stuff that you're putting
and that's a point that because I know with the dry fasting piece that people are getting into, there's like a charcoal thing, and we don't promote that, like to drinking charcoal and all that, and that kind of thing, and it's like, if you're drinking grape juice and charcoal, when you do some enemas, you're probably going to get out some black slime, but it ain't the black slime that I've talked about.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Because I got out like pounds of black slime, and I wasn't drinking nothing dark, wasn't eating nothing dark. I was fasting, doing lemon juice enemas.
And that wasn't even that hard, is what I'm saying. Like, to get out that black slime and to do that part wasn't hard. I mean, I got a lot of that out in the first 18 months, and then what I've been working on now is like a deeper kind of mucoid plaque. But that kind of mucoid plaque was easy. And so I do talk to people sometimes, and like, I've talked to people. One thing that I've noticed is that if you don't really get into the mucusless diet as a protocol, you don't see some of the benefits that or not even the benefits, you don't see some of the basic signs that Eric talked about. With the first being a huge mucoid rope. I mean, if I know people who have been on the forum for a while and stuff, and when you ask them, you know, have you seen that? It's like they haven't seen it. And, you know, sometimes I wonder, it's like, is that just what I was eating? Is that my physiology? Or, and that's another thing where if you don't really get into practicing some of the more strict periods of mucusless dieting mixed with fasting, you can, like, if you have a salad with avocados, for example, you could be fasting a lot, and it's going to obstruct the release of that mucoid plaque. You know what I mean? That's just something that I've been thinking about more, because I know I've seen those huge ropes and stuff where it's just pure mucoid plaque, and you really got to be serious about the mucusless diet to do that, to just experience that, to just see that through. And the people that I've seen who are constantly connecting the mucusless diet with other stuff, they don't ever get to see those kind of basic signs of practicing the mucusless diet, you know. So, I mean, what do you think about that? Where it's like, if you mix it, it's really gonna it's really gonna change what you're supposed to be experiencing.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing that we talk about, is like staying long enough with the mucusless diet protocols. Very few people do that because they start, like, you know, we're getting a lot of people in from different traditions, and, you know, so there's like the Dr. Morris people, and they're coming from a certain thing, and then the, you know, the Ralto 4 people and the 80-10-10 people. So that's just what happened in terms of, and I'll tell you one reason why a lot of those folks are finding this, because I outreached my hand to those communities because it was far easier for me to work with the raw food folks and the folks in those camps and the fruitarian folks versus the vegans. The vegans, boy.
Right,
right. They have no interest, because with the fruit, like with the people, it's like at least there's an your aspiration is in a good place. You know, you understand that the human body is fundamentally a fruit eating mechanism, and that in nature we're not going to cook foods, and, you know, we'll just eat stuff whatever's off the trees, and maybe only seasonal, if you might only eat for a couple months per year in nature, you know. So if you're someplace that where certain things only grow at certain times of the year, then you might only have meal a couple months out the year, you know, so in a more advanced physiological reality. But so you got people that are sort of thinking on that vibrational level, but the practicality of what they're trying to do doesn't really match up, like where they're coming from and how filthy they are. Like, that's a thing I notice a lot of people have trouble really saying, like you're an addict. You go into Alcoholics Anonymous, and the first thing you do is, I'm an alcoholic. I've been I've been sober for 4 hours. You know, and that's like with mucusless diet. I'm a mucus addict. You know, I've been sober for 5 days, because I've been fasting past several days. You know, so it's that, you know, but people don't. There's a self-esteem thing. I mean, there's a level of humility and humbleness that you have to have when you talk about the Mucusless Diet Healing System, and I don't see that in some of these other spaces, in these other systems. Like there's some people that they'll try to say they are, or they'll try to say, I'm so spiritual and humble. Look at me, I can pose in a spiritual way. You know, like, it's like, no, that ain't, no, that ain't the real thing. You know, there's and I can see it when somebody goes through it in the Mucusless diet, where you are stripped down to your bare bones, and you know, not sometimes literally, but not I'm not saying literally like your bare bones, but just in terms conceptually, like it's like all of what we've been talking about the whole time. All of that other stuff is being stripped away. Your whole social thing, what the you know, stuff you used to want to eat, things you used to want to do, everything is being stripped away. And I don't see a whole lot of people that have that ability to look in the mirror and be like, I'm sick, I'm a mucus addict, I'm sick, you know, I'm filthy, and I need to get myself together. Like, for me, I got enough self-esteem and self-love where that's not harsh when I tell that to myself. When I look like, man, I got a lot of work to do. Like, that's not hard to do. But what I see with people that don't have the self-esteem where they need, and that humbleness, and you know, where they need to have it to practice a mucusless diet, like they're almost offended that I even would say that about myself, because then they project it onto themselves, and they like feel really uncomfortable, like to look in the mirror and like they be talking down to themselves or something, you know, and when, so they don't even understand when I start to talk like that, because I go into a thing where you know, people used to hear me talk about myself, you know, where I'm just like, man, I'm such a nasty, filthy, you know, like I'll go into this whole thing, and people they won't realize like that's where that's coming from. For me, that's coming from a place of love and understanding and patience, and an unconditional love that, you know, where it's not based on where some people are really hard on themselves, like then they actually have a self-hatred. They'll love all kinds of people around them. They'll love their mother and their child, and it's like they love everybody but themselves. And that's right. You know, to me, that's problematic. You know, you start here, and then, you know, then you emanate that love outwardly, and you know, and that kind of thing. But that is something that I'd like to see more of. And it's a tough thing, because it's not, like I said, it's not about like being hard on yourself. Oh, I'm so, you know, like you're down about it. It's just being honest, and it's being, you know, like, okay, I'm a mucus addict. You know, if you're eating avocados, look in the mirror. I'm a mucus addict. You know, you eating the nuts and the seeds, look in the mirror. I'm a mucus addict. That don't mean that you have to not eat those things, because transitionally it might be fine. You know, whatever it is that you're into.
Right. But well, that's the thing, man. For me, like what you're talking about is the mentality that allows me to actually practice the diet. Like, knowing, first of all, knowing that you are going to need, or not, need is the wrong word, but you're going to use mucus lean options, first of all. And then it's just like that humility. What you were saying was deep to me, because there is a part of that in the mucusless diet where you settle into the process, I would say. You just realize, okay, I'm going down a path to clean myself up, and it's not actually going to finish. Like, it's not something where, oh, I'm going to do this and then be perfect and then get back to my life full steam ahead. It's like, no, my life becomes a healing. My life becomes a purification. And that becomes so important to you. You know, so that's kind of the humility that I've been experiencing, and kind of like what I was saying when I came on, where you kind of just settle into the process, and at that point you really want to talk about the mucusless diet. You really want to get more information. You want to talk more within the context of the diet, because you know that you're going down the path long term, you know.
You know, the one thing about all the other diets, so-called diets, is that people think that they have, like in the other diets, they think that they have gotten the diet as soon as they accept it, that they're gonna start practicing this certain diet. They feel like they've got, like, I'm there. The first day that they do it, you know, the first day that they're into it mentally, they feel like that's the
They've
end.
arrived. Yeah.
That's the end. I don't have. I mean, I'm there. I'm here. You know, and so that's the difference. I mean, the mucusless diet is, you know, we said this before. It's you know, separates the men from the boys. This is the real, you know, reconstructing the bloodstream piece. I mean, when you start talking in those terms, now we're getting down to the nitty gritty. So, and you know, and women as well, you know. So I mean, yeah, you getting real. So, you know, like I say, I'm so proud that the forum is there, that the group is there. I mean, every day there's at least what, maybe 50 people trying to get in the group.
Well, yeah, and I should say something. Actually, what we're gonna do now is I've actually been waiting for this because I put a pretty significant slowdown on letting people in the group, and then I always and if somebody really wants to be in there enough that they read through, and they'll see, like, if you don't get added to the group, send me a message, you know, and then I kind of manually add somebody, because there's a ton of people that have requested, but the problem is there's a lot of those that are fake accounts, that are spam accounts, and you know, and there's a level of education that I like to infuse with the people that's currently in the group, so that there's enough leaders and enough people that understand the mucus-free ways, so that when we let other people in that might be coming from all of these other diverse places, that the new people, because that's part of the educational process, as far as I'm concerned, is like someone told you and sort of sets you straight on what is and is not mucusless diet and that kind of thing, and so then you return the favor, and when there's some other people asking some questions that you know the answer to it, and you already seen us answer it, then you answer it, you know, and say, well, this is what it is, you know. But what I'm gonna do now, while we're I've been waiting. I've actually been waiting for this because we've been close to 3,000 members in the forum. So we're 4 people away. So right now, live, I'm gonna accept 4 more. I'm gonna accept more than 4 because somebody might leave, and then it'll be like under 3,000. So I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna do it right now as we talk. So these will be the people that you know. So okay, here's one. So we're 2,997. Then let's see. So we're gonna keep going. Now we got 2,998. This is like the countdown, you know, the New Year's Eve.
We need like little ribbons to fall down the screen.
Yeah. So okay. So 2,999. So we got one more. So who's gonna be the 3,000? The 3,000. The 3,000.
You know what? You should give them a.
But you see, you cut out there. But I think I know what you're saying. You should give them a book. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm gonna send them. In fact, I think I had a signed Spira Speaks over here, so they might get themselves a signed Spira Speaks. So this is all kind of random. Like what I tend to do is I'll kind of look for folks that have a bunch of friends in the group, and or or mutual friends and stuff. So so I don't know, maybe I should close my eyes and just pick somebody. I know what I'll do. I'll go way back to someone that's been like waiting to get in the group for a very long time. There's just a ton of people here. And this is, and this is significant because, like the people it took a long time to really grow the group to where it would be quality, and not just quantity, because there's some groups that have thousands and thousands of people in it, but they were either added unknowingly, and but everybody this is in the group, even though not everybody participates. Like everybody there's a lot of people that's interested, that are kind of like flies on the wall. Can't hear Brother Air. I don't know if he's talking. The audio is down. So it's a lot of people. So all right, so I'm gonna just pick somebody. Okay, well maybe I'll wait till Brother Eric gets back. That's what we'll do. So yeah, we need, like, in fact, I could play some. play a little tune. All right, so who has the most friends already in the group? Let's see. All right, so where's Brother Air at? And okay, here's somebody. So let's see. Okay, here's somebody that's got a lot of. Oh, where'd Tony go? So I do want to thank everybody that's been in the group. Okay, wow, this person has a lot of. Okay, I'm gonna add somebody that has 112 friends already in the group, and they have 103 mutual friends with Professor Spira. And I don't know where. I guess maybe Tony went to take a pit stop. So once he gets back, we will add the.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. What was you trying to say? Okay. Yeah, what was you trying to say before?
I was basically saying, I've only let one person in, because I've kind of left that to you, where I could let people in, but you kind of said, well, and I just had no, but I am impressed with how many people want to get in, but I've only let one person in, and I've had the authority to let many people in, but I've just never. I was like, I just kind of like, because I didn't know you were until we talked about it. You was like, man, I'm working folks in slowly, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I started understanding why.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I get that, because you just have a group of people, a big group of people, and this is really to keep it small and keep it really quality, and,
right.
So yeah, but I've only let one person in myself, so but I know at least 50 people a day try to get in that group, which by this time it probably should be 10, 20,000 people in the group.
Right. Yeah. If we just keep letting them in, and but
I got a cantaloupe and an orange for somebody. The 3,000 member.
Yeah.
We could juice it and have a party.
They have to come. They have to come all the way there to pick it up.
Right.
See, but
and we can get together.
But yeah, man. I mean, it's something that I'm so glad that Tony kind of chose this path. You know, I'm just so glad, man, that, you know, it's a few of us who are trying to get it together and who are really dedicated to getting over the hump, you know. So,
Man, I'll tell you, man, I'm so happy to have found it, and found you guys too.
Good
It's
thing.
crazy, man. It's like when I first read the book, it touched my soul. Like I was like, this is for me, you know, and and I'm so appreciative of you and Spira for, you know, giving me some one-on-one tips and some one-on-one thoughts, because that's so important too, getting that kind of individualized guidance, you know.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's because, you know, and it's funny, man, that you know, because me and Spirit talk about like really sharing some of the information with people, and it's kind of like talking out your neck, you know, when you talk to people that it you know, and we had to really because I wasn't talking to nobody, you know. At one point, I just had gotten to the point where I'm just, because I had just been giving it up over the years, man. Just, oh man, I was just, you know, just giving up everything, man. The people, man, at the strike of a hat, if they say, oh man, I would just unleash, you know. And then I got to, I said, man, I can't think of one person. Well, this should tell you something. Out of everybody that I've talked to in the tri-state area, Spira, Dr. They're the only ones. I mean, I'm people.
Right.
Yeah, his internet's failing.
For 10 people.
Oh, he's back.
20.
Yeah, man. I wish we got one thing I'm gonna do for Brother Air next.
Spira.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, you kind of you breaking up a little bit.
Place.
Yeah, Brother Air. Yeah, you broke up. You don't see your picture anymore up there.
I wasn't saying nothing.
Yeah, I can tell what he's saying though.
Right. Yeah. He's talked about that before, basically.
You know, for me, man.
Oh man.
And yeah, we gonna get we're gonna try to get the internet thing together. I'm gonna get him a cord to go so he ain't on Wi-Fi, so he can go directly into the.
Yeah, man. You gotta go hook him up and really get this thing sorted out.
Yeah, it's yeah.
But I see what he's saying, and it's like, and it is challenging because, you know, I've just in my own short time experience, I've tried to talk to people, and that's not. It's like that's not the way to do it most effectively, and so I think that what the foundation that we're building now is going to really revolutionize that, you know, because we're going to have like the e-course and the videos and the books. It just changes that whole dynamic because we can tell people like get all this information and, you know, then we'll talk more. So
Yeah.
To revolutionize it.
Right. And Okay, brother Air's coming back. See, as I was trying to like close my eyes and pick somebody, so it would be.
Okay, I was wondering why you were
impartial.
closing your eyes.
Yeah, like the problem is, it's like it feels like I'm hitting things that are like obviously spam accounts.
Oh, okay.
When I do that, so I don't want to do a spam account. I think this looks like it's a. I think I found me the account, the 3,000. So okay, well, we'll go with my man. This If Pro William Tucker. That's gonna be the 3,000th.
Wait, say the name again.
If Pro William Tucker. Looks like he's kind of promotes veganism and fitness cat, and he asked to join the group a while back.
Okay.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna sign out, man, and let y'all continue.
Yeah. Well, all right. So I'm gonna add this. Okay, I just added the 3,000 person to the group. So that's the
Right. Yeah. All right. We got a group of 3,000 people. Wow. Out of 3,000 people in the group, and maybe 4 or 5 people who practice. That's a scathing commentary, isn't it? You know, like okay, you know, because there's a lot of cats who just are in the group who like to observe the conversation, you know.
Right.
Yeah. And like to start stuff, you know. I know what's the one lady who always says that I will never. It's like if you ask Brother Air something, he never will answer you.
Yeah.
I tried to explain it. Like you was talking about before, you're not the fastest typer in the world, so you're not gonna write a Tony or a Professor Spira response to anybody.
She was answering Brother Air's question. When somebody asked a question, she would jump right on and be like, he's not going to answer you. I said, oh, man, it's getting crazy now, man. So, yeah, we got some bad cats, man. Sarah Lee, she's really became somebody that that's really been active and real intelligent things she says. She's practicing. You can tell when folks are really practicing.
Yeah.
You know, you really can tell. And Tobin and all those cats, you know, they're still Stern.
Yeah, Tobin.
Yoga and all those. Doug, yeah, all of them. Doug, he's got a few videos. I happen to run into his. I don't know how I ran it. Somebody sent me a videotape of somebody doing a lemon enema.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Somebody sent me. I don't know if my son kind of routed it to me or whatever. But yeah, it was who was doing a lemon enema. And she was talking about, but she normally does coffee enemas. And it was about 4 years old. You know, so I was like, oh, okay. And then they had the caption. I wonder where she heard that from, Brother Air. You know, so I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, it's some good people in the group, man, and I really enjoy. Randy, he's still there, and
Randy, he's actually got land out in Hawaii.
Yeah. We had a Google map of the land.
Okay.
You didn't see that, Tony?
We're checking it out.
No.
Yeah.
How many acres does he have, you think?
You have to ask him. I
thought
forget
it was,
the details. I forget.
yeah, but I mean, it's right on the ocean, man. It's like, oh man, it's beautiful, man. And he's kind of like, hey, look, it's here, you know, feel, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So him, Randy, he's always there.
Yeah.
I guess we're doing shout outs now.
I guess, yeah, this is wrapping it up. Wrapping it up with some shout outs.
Yeah, I would just say, yeah, I'm always impressed by Jamie. Jamie's kind of impressive because I would say Jamie is really persistent. You know, there's some people on the forum, man, who it's like against all odds they're gonna stay interested. You know, and always being supportive. I had went through some issues one time and left Facebook, and Jamie reached out to me. She had called me, and it was nice, man, and I respect that a lot. And you know, there's just some people on there who are just always supportive, always got something positive to say, and that's
yeah. And I would say Suzanne, you know, Suzanne.
Yeah,
she's like, you know, she's I think she's probably watching right now. She said some nice things to say about the video, and you know, she's practiced Mucusless Diet since she was like 16 or something. So, and she, you know, really, just an incredible story. You know, she posts up pictures of her when she was getting into the diet, like it was young, like as a child, and the person that had got her into the diet, and you know, and this like, and that's the thing, like there's a lot of people that's practicing the diet that we never hear from, and I sometimes hear from them. You know, I'll get a call, or I get a chance to talk to some people, and I'll be like, yeah, I practiced Mucusless Diet for 30 years, and I just stay quiet. I don't, you know, because it was so crazy. I don't talk about it with anybody, but I love what you're doing, you know, and that kind of stuff. And so there's more people out here that don't really, you know, that just don't really want to be super visible and deal with the whole social media thing, and you know, but they're watching and they're plugging in, and so I'm happy, you know, when I hear those get them kind of messages and, you know, them kind of stories. Brother Air, I think he's trying to say something, but it's not coming through. But yeah,
his audio's off.
Yeah, the audio is not coming through. And
but yeah, man. Okay, I'm seeing Suzanne's comment right now. Yeah, man, I love Suzanne, man. She's like a mother figure in the sense where I just know, like with Suzanne, I just know she has my back. Like if I need to message her or ask for any kind of support, she'll give it. You know, and then Tobin's like, man, Tobin's got the energy. I didn't know he was that young. Like he's like 22 or something. I thought Tobin was late 20s, whatever, just because of his interest in the mucusless diet. It's a mature kind of thing. But yeah, man, he's got that vitality and the artism. Yeah, man, it's a really good group of people, man, and I want to see another chat meeting, another group chat.
Yeah. We're definitely, you know, it's all gonna happen. That's what I say. You know, the folks that have been patient, that, you know, and I love all y'all that, you know, I get the messages like, where's the e-course, where's the audio book, you know, where's everything, and you know, like I said, it's been dissertation time for me, and so I had to put a lot of effort into you know, pushing that over the hump. And anybody that's gotten graduate degree knows, like it's not enough to just go through your defense. You got to like run this thing all the way over the goal line. So I'm in that process now, but I mean, within the next year, man, it's just gonna be incredible. Like there's so much things that's gonna.
And there's a lot of. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's a lot of things that me and Spira wanted to try to get to people this year. As far as especially in North America, we want to try to get to as many people as we can, man. We want to, come and hang, man. And that's something that we've talked about.
Yeah.
There's no reason that we haven't got up in Michigan to see you, man. I mean, that's
I know, man. I know.
I used to be. I didn't go last year, but I had been up to the Detroit Festival about 4 or 5 years in a row. So, Michigan was always on our radar and stuff. So that we got to make that happen, man, because that's not something that is that hard to make happen.
Right, definitely.
With the Michigan. So that's something that me and Spirit talked about, trying to do that all over North America, as far as just trying to touch base with people. And
it was always a matter of timing, because that timing has to be right. But that's on the plans. That's on the list. Of things to come.
Right.
Yeah,
and so that's been a good thing, man. Just to and just having Spirit through with this dissertation and getting his PhD, and so just having him not into that now, like he's done now. Okay. We kind of left him alone. It's like everybody kind of, we was like hands off. While he's doing this. And that was kind of the rule. And still practicing the Mucusless diet at the same time was more than a notion. I mean, that's got to be. That's got to be probably the hardest process, to be practicing the Mucusless diet and doing that. Creating a dissertation, being able to sit and concentrate and be rational and then, have to go and deal with the school piece, on that level. That's rough, and then I mean he added a little flavor the last 2 or 3 years with having an interest in the opposite sex, he was
Oh no, brother Air we can't hear him. He's
jumping.
You're breaking up. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Is he still? He
was doing this thing. To see him. Hear me?
No, it's coming in and out.
Still
It's
can't
starting
hear me.
to cut off. Yeah.
I'm ready to get out of here, man, because I gotta.
You sound like he's gonna try.
But hey, Tony, it's always a pleasure, man.
Yeah, man. Respect.
again?
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna hit you up.
Yeah, so I think that's yeah, brother Air. It was always great to have him plugged in, and yeah, peace, man, and yeah, good talking, and you know, covered a lot of ground today. See, still, you out? You can't, you know, you coming in and out pretty bad. Yeah, I'm hoping that getting a cord will help. Getting a cord to go directly from laptop into the internet connection will solve some of that problem coming in and out like that. But yeah, man. So yeah, it's been a good talk, and you know, so I know Tony's going through his piece, working on your couple papers, and you know, so keep on pushing it. When it comes to that, and you know, because all these skills and all this stuff that everybody's learning, no matter what you're doing, if you're in school, if you doing some kind of job or whatever it is you're doing, you know, it's like it's giving you some kind of wisdom and some kind of knowledge, and the trick is to learn how to use it, and learn how to start framing your life around the diet, you know, to frame your life around the Mucusless diet. And, so yeah, man. So I think we're gonna shut it down. You have any last words?
Man, I just appreciate you, man, for putting all this together, man, making the information available, and always being willing to serve and to help answer any questions. And you know, you always have been supportive, man, so I really appreciate it. And yeah, I look forward to what we can do, man, and I look forward to building this thing, you know, helping more people, making it more available.
Yeah, that's what's going on. Well, I want to thank all of you great people for tuning in, and those of you that's watching it live, you know, it's been a pleasure. Those of you that's watching it later on in the replay, it's been an honor. You know, thank you as always. And like we said, we keep on being patient. It's coming. You know, the wave of mucus-free consciousness is all of a sudden it's gonna be here, and people can be like, oh wow, that's what he was talking about. You know, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. You know, 2016, we're gonna, you know, try to make this a clean 2016. That sounds real corny, so I won't advocate saying that ever again. Clean 2016. That's low. It's like I came up with my classes, you know, in high school, where you come up with those little phrases, and I can't come, you know, getting business done in 2001. Like I came up with our slogan.
Oh yeah.
But so all right, y'all. Until next time, peace, love, and breath.